touch you unless you're dead or dying.
I'm done again. Sitting at the table last night with my wife doing my taxes, and I said, wow, we've owned this house for a year now and paid all this interest, paid all these taxes. It's like, $1,500 a month total. I think the taxes equal about maybe $500 a month. So I'm thinking, wow, we're going to do our taxes. We're going to make a lot of money back. We have this house and, the American dream, owning a property. See how much. So we did the taxes without the house and with the house. And it was virtually the same. What's the benefit of having a damn house? I thought we had all kinds of tax savings. I thought it was going to give me a bunch of money back, but I guess I was wrong. And then I saw a few things on the news today, and a few quotes online, and just reading all the people that are just fed up. And I read a good one. How many countries tax their citizens and send the money to the United States? Can you name just one that does that? Neither can I. And also remember, too, the same people terrified of Doge wanted to hire 87,000 IRS agents to audit you to make sure you pay more. Why? Why do they want more? Don't they have enough? Unbelievable. I was just thinking, I got another great idea for all the radical Democrats out there. You're all pissed off that Trump won, so I got a great idea. You're so mad that he's in there. When Trump takes away the taxes on your overtime, when you work overtime, you get to keep all that money. I got a great idea. If you hate him so much, don't fucking spend the money. Don't pay your bills with it. Take that money, donate it to a good cause. Either save it to your radical Dems that run for president 4 years from now, put it into an account, and then you can give it to Kamala, whatever else fucking idiot runs for presidency in 4 years. Or donate to a good cause. Maybe Kamala's a raging lunatic. She lost. She didn't know jack shit about anything. She's useless. All she is just a blabber bag. She runs her mouth. I never saw the woman answer one question. Not one question could she answer. And you idiots wanted her running the country. Thank God the smart people won. Thank God the smart people's votes counted. We spoke. It was answered. Trump's now going to be the president. Thank God. I've been smiling for days.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Thank you so much for clicking on this episode. I really do appreciate your love and support on this channel. So it's crazy because on social media, white Americans are now living the Black Americans' life, or the United States of America, the white American is turning to the Black American. The reason as to why I'm saying this, I've come across a couple of videos of white Americans expressing how hard life is in the United States of America, how hard it is for some of them to survive. Life is getting expensive. Healthcare is getting expensive. Some of them have to push themselves to go even work even after they are not healed after surgeries and a lot more. Some are not even affording to buy groceries. Some are not affording to pay for their bills. And the reason as to why I'm saying that they have now shifted to Black Americans' life is because Black Americans have been warning them for ages. They never listened because at that point when Black Americans were telling them, they called them lazy. They called them criminals. You know, they love criminalizing everything about Black Americans. When it was about DEI, they were just saying that why do you have to hire people just because of their skin color and not their qualifications? They thought that Black people are actually getting employed because of their skin color. You know, when the Trump administration talked about repealing Obamacare, they were okay with that. And now most of them are actually facing a lot of issues that they didn't know they exist because all these years they've been benefiting from their white privilege. But now the hate that they've been creating, the system that they've actually been benefiting from, or the system that was built for them to get all the benefits and all the privilege, is now finally turning against them. There's so many videos that I've seen. Some are very painful actually to watch, because even me sitting here, I never thought that this day would come where you actually see white people crying on social media because of the hardships they're facing in the United States of America. And I just want to tell you guys that whatever that is happening now is what the Black Americans and minorities have been facing in the United States of America. But they've been trying to talk to you, but none of you listened. All you could do was term them lazy and say they don't want to work. All you could do is just tell them that they are criminals. All they care about is being gang members, and a lot. There is a lot that white Americans have been saying about the Black Americans. And now that the problems that Black Americans have been facing in the United States of America are finally catching up with white Americans, I don't know now what you have to say with everything that's happening, because pride has even made some of them that they don't want to admit that whatever is happening is because of the system they've been creating. You know, they want to blame everything that's happening now to the Biden administration, but it's the system that you all have been creating. I want us to watch these videos together. Every clip and every stitch that you'll be seeing on our today's episode, credits belongs to the original creators of these videos that you see on your screens. If you're coming across this channel for the first time, my good name is Gracie D. Kindly consider subscribing to this channel, give this video a like, and let me know what your thoughts are on the comment section. So let's just dive right ahead and we'll come back with more commentary.
Yeah, mortgage payment's going to be late again. I always try to figure out, like, do I pay the electric and the fuel and the groceries and the overdue credit card bill and the cable bill, or do I pay the mortgage payment that's already late, and then everything else is going to be late, and then there's going to be interest and fees tacked on? What are you supposed to do? I mean, can people work 3-4 jobs? I physically can't do it. I'm 49 years old and I'm fucking exhausted. Where's the light at the end of the tunnel? I don't understand what to do anymore. I mean, my mortgage payment's always late. Like, they give you a 15-day grace period, thank God. But then you go past the 15th and you got a big, late fee. And that's the problem I have. You pay it past the end of the grace period, and then you're like, thank God I finally paid it, right? But then you realize it's due again. And now you're back. You're behind. You're just like, you feel like you're drowning in water. Like when you can't swim and you're in a lake and you can't keep your head above water. Every day, just struggling to survive, struggling to get through, struggling to live another day. Thank God I got my family and my kids. I don't know what I'd do without them. They said the economy was bouncing back. They said inflation was cooling down. They said jobs were up and people were doing better. But let me ask you something. Better for who exactly? Because for the working class, for people like us, nothing's really changed. We're still scraping by. We're still choosing between paying rent, paying mortgage, buying groceries. Which way are you going to go? Gas might be down a few cents, but it's still not affordable. Our paychecks haven't grown, but everything else around us has. We're working harder than ever. We're doing overtime. We're doing side hustles. We're selling shit just to make it through the next fucking month. And what do we get told? Be grateful you have a job. Stop complaining. Things could be worse. Work harder. You should budget better. No, we've been working fucking hard. We've been fucking budgeting. We've been sacrificing. We've hustled. We've waited. And guess what? We're fucking tired. We're fucking angry. We're fed up with the lies and the fake promises. So if this is what better looks like, you can keep it. Because working class people deserve more than fucking survival. We deserve to live, not to just exist. 75% of Americans currently are living paycheck to paycheck. You ever feel like no matter how hard you work, you're still falling behind? That's not an accident. We're living in a country where debt is a business model. They sell you college dreams, but don't tell you it comes with a lifetime bill. They tell you to buy the car, buy the house, live the dream, but swipe that card, take that loan, and keep paying. When you can't keep up, they say it's your fault. The truth is, the system needs you drowning. They need you stressed. They need you tired, because if you're busy surviving, you're too tired to ask, why is this the way it is? If you're feeling overwhelmed right now, It's not because you failed. It's because the game was rigged before you even started. You're not broken. The system is. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner your life will begin to improve. Live within your means. Work as hard as you can to get rid of that debt. And try to live. Just live. Don't worry about all the fancy crap. You don't need it. Try to live within your means, and your life will drastically improve. I promise you. Oh, they want to work you until you're dead. It's been their plan all along. When you were born, they issued you a serial number to keep you in line. They took your footprints. They kept all your records. We're all issued a barcode, just like cattle would be on a farm. And they mandate that your parents or legal guardians send you to school, indoctrination camp. And if you don't, there's legal action taken against your parents, and they'll make sure you get to school because it's a 8-hour workday. And they push you through a 30-minute lunch. And there's bells that go off that start to train your mind, just like prison, just like a 9-to-5 job that you work today, all for us to pay for permission to go fishing and hunting. And we're not allowed to keep all of our money. In fact, every time we get paid our money, we have to pay them. Every time we use our money, we have to pay them. Whenever we leave the house, we have to pay them. Only 120, 150 years ago, people were living off the grid, no issues, tax-free, living off of a homestead, growing all of their stuff, food, shelter, water. They had it. It was no issue to them. The Amish people seem to really have it figured out.
The cost of living in this country is currently, it's not going to be, it is currently unsustainable. And there are people that they know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000 a year. That's a pretty high up wage in terms of like top earners in this country, $75,000 a year. And we're going to go through some things here. This is a person with no debt outside of a car. And please don't hit me with the, you can go buy a car for, shut up, you can't, shut up, stop saying ridiculous things. An entry-level decent car is $30,000. So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k because shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement. Because if you're not doing it now, you're never going to get to start doing it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a one-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700. That car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy, that car payment's $579 a month. Car insurance, $240 or so a month for a lot of vehicles in this day and age. You're a young person, you've got a nice job, but the insurance companies still want to screw you over. Food. You only cook at home. You never, ever go out. You only cook at home and you only eat decent quality food because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month for that. You spend $250 a month in gas. You wear and tear on your car $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your internet, $175 a month for your electricity, $70 for your water, $20 for your cash. You make $75,000 a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. Do you know how much money you have left over annually at a $75,000 wage? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie. You do nothing. If you can't find it on the internet for free, you don't get to do it. If you can't cook it at home for your $800, you don't get to do it. You have $3,700 left over annually. That's like $320 a month. And there's going to be, well, that's $300. Shut up. Shut your stupid, contrarian, edgelord mouth. That's not a doctor bill, because God knows just because we have insurance doesn't mean that we don't still pay far out the ass when we go to the doctors. People like to be entertained. They want to date. They want to... There's those of you out there that will tell somebody living like this on $75,000 a year before taxes that they are not doing what they're supposed to do, that they should get a second job, that they should get a side hustle, that they should get a better job. And the fact that you would look at somebody with no debt other than a car and say something like this to them means Objectively, you're a moron and you live in a fantasy world. This is unsustainable.
Who else is fucking tired of the cost of rent in this country? I know I am. And they say just work hard and save you a little down payment. You know, it'll happen in no time, right? Wrong. Not when you're paying $20,000 plus a year in rent. What the fuck are you gonna save? And if you can't afford to save, let's just like play it out. How are you gonna get approved for a house that's over $250,000 for a starter home now? Not only that, but rent goes up every year. And I get it, cost of taxes, insurance, whatever the fuck, but I'm not getting any more house. And shit, like I got my car stolen out of the fucking driveway here. And the rent still went up $100 a month, like a few months later. Like in 4 years we've been at the house that we are now, we would have paid off an entire house like 15 years ago. An entire house. And let's not even talk about the fact we've got Vanguard and BlackRock out here buying up the majority of homes, virtually inflating the market any which way they wish. Soon nobody will be able to afford to own either because those property taxes and the insurance is about to skyrocket. But I kind of feel like that might be the plan, you know? Nobody owns anything, everybody works till they die, nothing to pass down, no generational wealth anymore. It's like what George Carlin said. It's called the American Dream because you gotta be asleep to believe it. Getting fucking tired of this capitalistic hellscape, y'all. See you guys next time. Bye.
Let's talk about who the American dream was never meant for. From the start, the American dream was a myth. In the 1930s, the US government literally drew lines around primarily black neighborhoods in order to deny them loans, a process today known as redlining. Not only was this harmful because it kept black Americans out of homes, but it also denied them access to generational wealth. Meanwhile, throughout the 20th century, black workers and immigrants were exploited in factories, in mines, and in fields, while the rich got even richer. Not to mention union busting and wage theft kept families in poverty for decades, and we can even see those effects today. It's not that the American dream is broken, it's that it is a myth for the majority of people. It was meant for white middle-class people who had the resources to try to elevate themselves to the top 1%. So by supporting billionaires like Elon Musk or like Mark Zuckerberg, you are supporting a system that actively hurts minorities as well as the everyday people just like you. It's time for us to rebuild a system that is truly fair and equitable for everybody. Peace and love.
Is anyone else completely sick and tired of living in America where you're expected to work your entire life? Like, we are not here to work. Our jobs are not our lives. Our jobs are not our purpose. Like, everyone asks me, like, what's your job? What are you doing with your life? Like, I'm just trying to save enough and get passive income so I can go travel the world and start my life. Like, everyone thinks their purpose is to work. Like, you get done with high school, then you go to college for 4 years, then you're $30,000 in debt, and then you're trying to find a job just so you can pay off that debt over the next 3 years. And then what? Then you're making enough money just to pay your mortgage and afford groceries and then pay for kids. And then before you know it, you're 60 and you're retiring and your body hurts because of your job and you didn't do anything that you wanted to do. And that's our life. That's what you're expected to do. And if you break out of that, then people are going to judge you and think you're weird or you're crazy or you're a hippie. I'm so sick of it. America needs to make a change. Something needs to change because people are not happy here. People are not living their dreams. People are not living their life. They are working. They think that their work is their life. It is not that way.
People are broke, and now there's proof showing up in the numbers. Kellogg's reported an 8.6% drop in cereal sales. Crocs pulled its entire financial forecast. Heineken says people are drinking less. And even global giants like Nestle are seeing sales fall across the board. And what's scary about this, it's not about cutting luxuries. People are walking away from everyday items. Candy, snacks, fast food, takeout. Last Saturday, I went for lunch at a popular restaurant. Usually packed at noon, we expected a wait. Instead, we were just a handful of people there. Because consumers are cutting back hardest on items that bring joy. Chips, chocolate, going out to dinner. Not because they want to, because simply they don't have the fucking money. And companies know it. Forecasts are being pulled. Behind the scenes, they see the truth. Demand just isn't slowing. It's fucking collapsing. After 5 brutal years, Americans are barely hanging on. And now the administration slaps tariffs on top of it. It's like throwing gasoline on an already burning house. These families are one missed paycheck away from financial collapse. Americans aren't tightening belts anymore. They've run out of fucking notches.
I was just thinking, I got another great idea for all the radical Democrats out there. You're all pissed off that Trump won, so I got a great idea. You're so mad that he's in there. When Trump takes away the taxes on your overtime, when you work overtime, you get to keep all that money. I got a great idea. If you hate him so much, don't fucking spend the money. Don't pay your bills with it. Take that money, donate it to a good cause. Either save it to your radical Dems that run for president 4 years from now, put it into an account, and then you can give it to Kamala, whatever else idiot runs for presidency in 4 years, or donate to a good cause. Maybe donate the money to the Red Cross or UNICEF or your local dog shelter. If you don't like Trump and you don't want his money, then donate the money to a good cause. You're all a bunch of crybaby morons. Get the fuck over it. Kamala's a fucking raging lunatic. She lost. She didn't know jack shit about anything. She's fucking useless. All she is just a blabber bag. She runs her mouth. I never saw the woman answer one question. Not one question could she answer. And you idiots wanted her running the country. Thank God the smart people won. Thank God the smart people's votes counted. We spoke. It was answered. Trump's now going to be the president. Thank God. I've been smiling for days.
Yes, guys, so the issues that the Black community have been going through and minorities in the United States of America are finally catching up with white America. And, you know, it's so many times that I've come across videos of, you know, white Americans telling Black Americans to just forget about the past when they want to talk about racism, slavery, and also the systematic racism that they still face today. Now, there are so many benefits that actually the Caucasian people have been getting in the United States of America because of their white privilege. Most of them, they don't like admitting this, but we know, even for those without knowing, that those privilege that you've always been benefiting from as a Caucasian person in the United States of America. And most of you don't want to admit this. And it's crazy that I see videos of, you know, Caucasian people telling Black people, stop living in the past, we are living in the present. We are not our ancestors, and whatever was done to you by our ancestors, we should not be the one to pay for that. While even to date, as you are speaking, you are still benefiting from, you know, the systematic racism that Black people have to go through. Now, everything that you've seen on this video, there are so many Black people and minorities in the United States of America that have been facing the same thing that these people are actually facing right now because of the systematic racism. Black people have been telling you for ages, they've been warning you, but most people, because of the white privilege that they were actually getting and these issues were not affecting them, it never bothered them at that time. Because of the new administration, I've seen more people come out and saying how hard life is. To some point, some of them cannot even afford to pay their house rent, and they have to move to storage units to afford a living or to have a place to sleep. And the saddest part about this is that this is what has been happening in the Black community, and it never bothered any of them because at that time they were not being affected by this. Even when Black people are always out there telling and saying of what's affecting them and how the system is very unfair to them, none of them listened. And I was actually going through a bit of research, and I wanted to get and understand the benefits that Caucasian people have been getting in the United States of America because of their white privilege. You see, these are things that some of you, I know you actually even benefited, or you just got through not knowing that this was actually white privilege. And someone actually came and made a video of, you know, telling people, if you never understood or you know, never get a clear picture of white privilege really looks like, look at the 59 South Africans or Afrikaners that were actually brought to the United States of America because somebody lied to you that they're actually facing white genocide in South Africa, which was all a lie. That is a clear picture of what white privilege looks like. And here are some of the privileges that I'm gonna read to you that some of you may have been, you know, getting without knowing. For those who don't understand, white privilege in America refers to the systematic advantages that white people have historically and often continue to experience simply because of their race. These benefits are not about individual intentions, but about societal structures and norms that favor whiteness. And some of you might have been getting these advantages without knowing. And now that white Americans are now actually feeling and facing what Black Americans have been going through, I hope this will be the time that the white community will actually wake up and say enough is enough, and everyone should have equal rights in the United States of America, of which I know it's only a small number of people that will actually agree with that. So it has been easy for Caucasian people to have access to quality education. So you find like white students often attend better funded schools with more resources, advanced classes, and extra curricular opportunities due to residential segregation and school funding tied to property taxes. We can say segregation does not exist anymore, but we all know there are even schools that you cannot take your child when you are Black. You as a Caucasian parent, you already know that there is a school that your child is going, but you've never even heard your kid mention of having a Black student in their class, and you already know that some parents even choose, not because they want, but they are doing it unconsciously, want to take their kids to only Caucasian school. Because you know, you've heard all these things that have been said about Black kids and Black people in the United States of America. You also find that white people have more job opportunities and higher wages, and studies has shown that white applicants often receive more callbacks than equal qualified Black or brown applicants. White workers tend to have higher average wages and more promotions. And this is why most white people wanted the government to do away with the DEI, because they only thought that was actually benefiting unqualified Black people. While you see when it comes to job opportunities, you find even white people that are not even like, you know, that qualified as a Black person will be easy to get job opportunity or be promoted at their workplace just because of their skin color or just because of their white privilege. You also look at things like fairer treatment by law enforcement and the justice system. White people are less likely to be stopped, searched, arrested, or harshly sentenced compared to people of color, reflecting systematic racial biases in policing and courts. It's just the other day that we saw on the news that the guy who unalived George Floyd was gonna be pardoned, and a lot of police officers that have actually unalived melanated men and melanated people have been getting not sentence as to what another Black officer would get or another Black person would get for unaliving a Caucasian person. You also find greater access to housing and loans. Historically, practices like redlining denied communities of color access to mortgages and good neighborhoods. Our Caucasian families have been more able to accumulate generational wealth through home ownership. You see, you want to tell the Black community to forget about the past, but you see, the past and the things that were done to them is still the benefits. You're still reaping the fruits of those bad things that were actually done to the Black community, or that systematic racism that they're still facing today. You're benefiting from that, and you want to sit there and tell them to forget about the past and live in the present, which is not possible, because what happened to Black people in the past, to their ancestors, is still affecting the current generation of Black Americans in the United States of America, which is quite unfair. So when you're sitting there and you're going or facing a hard time right now currently, and you're catching up with what Black Americans have been going through, just remind yourself that this is what your community has been building for yourselves for years, and now that the white privilege cannot save some of you anymore, you have to go through this, and it's gonna be hard for most of you, because let me tell you, white privilege doesn't come with survival mechanism, honestly. Another one is freedom from everyday racial profiling or suspicion. You find that even sometimes Black people would walk to a store, they want to shop, and they want to buy some clothes or some nice things. They have to be followed, and the people who actually follow them, the saddest part is that those workers, you help your employer to do this because you follow what they are telling you. If any melanated person gets in this store and they want to shop, you have to follow them around, because what? they might steal, they might rob us, which has not always been the case. It's not like every time you see a black person walking into a store, the mentality they have is to steal. And it's sad that still today there are people who still have this same mentality, and they have to keep on following and policing black people around stores, you see, which is quite sad. The same way as you see a black person driving, it's so many times of them, or a number of times, they get stopped by police officers just because of racial profiling. But some of you, because of your white privilege, you've never even faced this. And I know some would come on the comment section and say that does not exist, which just because it does not occur or happen to you doesn't mean that it's not happening to the black community. Some of these things, I know it's hard for some Caucasian people to actually understand, but it's just the reality of things. You just need to get out there and have life experience as to what black people are actually experiencing, to see how your system is, and to stop defending yourself and your community. Another thing is easier navigation of public spaces and institutions. In some circumstances, like I've seen a video of where this black woman who actually went to withdraw money from her own bank account, but they called police on her because they were like, how as a black woman can you be having this much money in your bank account? Why are you even withdrawing? But I've never seen the same case or anyone talking about the same issue happening to Caucasian people. I've never seen it like that. You also saw like healthcare, where black women actually, when it comes to maternal health care, it's crazy and it's sad that till today black women are facing a lot in maternal health care because the system is very unjust to them. So I also went to look on data that actually supporting the points that I've been going through. Easier access to quality education. According to the US Department of Education, schools with predominantly white students receive more funding than those serving mostly students of color, often because of property tax-based funding. And it's just the other day that they were actually saying if there is any school that will be teaching the slavery history and black history and what happened in the past, they might not be getting federal funding, which is quite sad. So an example of this easy access to quality education is the landmark case Brown v. Board of Education ended legal segregation in schools, but many schools still remain segregated de facto, leading to unequal resources. White students tend to have access to better facilities, experienced teachers, and advanced placement courses. When it comes to more job opportunities and higher wages, and the reason as to why I'm saying the things that you're actually facing right now, because I've seen so many Caucasian people coming on social media and crying and saying how hard life is, and I'm just telling you, whatever you're going through, this is something that your system and your government and you yourself have helped create. The problems that you're now facing through are problems that you've been creating for years. A study that was done in 2004 by Bertrand and Mulinathan sent identical resumes to employees but changed only the names. Andy and Greg, white sounding, received 50% more callbacks than Lakisha and Jamal, which are like black sounding names. And it's quite sad because even like when people, I've seen in cases where people, when they drop their CV or they are going for interviews, even like when you've dropped your CV and you're expecting for a callback, if your name sounds black, you're definitely not gonna get a callback. And this a study that was done in 2004, but till today these things are actually happening. And let me just go through the last one. Wage gap. According to the Economic Policy Institute, the median hourly wage for white workers was about 20% higher than that of black workers in 2020, even when controlling for education and experience. You see, this is where I'm saying most of the issues that you're actually facing now are issues that you've been helping the system create. And now the problem and the issues that you've been creating over the years are finally catching up with white Americans. And this is why you're seeing so many people actually suffering and going through a lot. I just want to hope that maybe this will help to be the change of America to become a better country, of the United States of America want to live with each other, of the white community want everyone to have equal rights, not only those that are actually benefiting them or because of the white privilege they are going to benefit from, but those rights that will also favor and benefit the Black community and other minorities in the United States of America. Because at the end of the day, politicians will always be politicians. They don't care what you are going through. Business people will always be business people. All they care is just about the money that they're making. And this politician and the current administration that you're actually having, it's clearly that they don't care about the United States of America's citizens, including you that you're a Caucasian. Because now people are going through all this. People cannot afford to buy groceries. They cannot afford to pay for their bills. But the government have the audacity and the funds to go and get white South Africans all the way from Johannesburg using a government chartered flight to America, provide everything that they need, housing, groceries, healthcare benefits, and all the benefits that even some white Americans that are not able to access, which is quite sad, but maybe this is gonna be, or this is the eye-opener that white Americans needed to know that the politicians never cared about you, and the division that has been created for years is not helping you, and the hate that you have towards the Black community is not helping you but destroying your community and America at large. Thank you so much for watching up to this part. Let me know what your thoughts are on the comment section, especially if you're a white American watching this. I'd really love to hear what your thoughts are on the comment section. And until the next episode, make sure to subscribe, give this video a like, and bye.